Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 34 of the News Just News weekly roundup. I'm going to be your host for today. My name is Lucia, and I am once again joined by the wonderful Anna. Hello, Anna.
Hi, guys.
Welcome back. And also, I am joined by Adam with a new haircut. Hello.
Thank
Hey.
you. Hello, everyone.
As usual, you can find all the stories that we're going to be talking about today on our website. So you can just head to newsjustnews.com and you'll find there stories about entertainment, sport, politics, whatever you fancy, you'll find it there. We are starting today with probably one of the biggest releases of the year. So we're talking about cinema. Tomorrow, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is finally hitting the cinemas. So on Friday the 17th, this was maybe I would say probably, the biggest release of the year, I would say. People have been talking about it for months and months, and we had the first trailers over 6 months ago. So we are finally about to see his version of this story. I would say that this is kind of like an unexplored territory for Christopher Nolan. Obviously, he has directed historical movies set in like an historical setting that is different from our normal reality, but I would say he's never gotten that far. Obviously, the Odyssey followed the story of Odysseus, and he is the protagonist of this ancient Greek poem that is attributed to Homer, and it's probably one of the most famous stories in history of literature in the history of anything. And we follow the main character throughout like his travel back after the War of Troy. So he's traveling back to his hometown, Ithaca. And during this, perilous journey, he will meet a lot of different characters. And that's why this movie has an absolutely stellar cast. We have Matt Damon, who obviously plays the main character. And then we have Tom Holland, Zendaya in the role of Athena, which is something I'm really excited to see. We have Anne Hathaway, Charlize Theron, Robert Pattinson, Elliot Page, Travis Scott, like literally so many people. It's a movie that made loads of people curious, obviously, and loads of people are excited to see. But also when the teaser trailer and then the trailer just a few weeks ago came out, loads of people were kind of like criticizing a few of the choices in relation to the movie, specifically the casting. So we have Lupita Nyong'o. She has been cast to play Helen of Troy. This was probably like the most controversial choice. Obviously, Lupita being a Black actress. If we remember, for example, a movie that is, connected to the story, which is Troy, and that movie came out in 2004, I believe, like ages ago now. But Helen of Troy there was played by Diane Kruger, who is like a German actress. So I think people kind of like made that connection and they were like really thrown off by this choice. Nyong'o spoke about this actually, and she said that it's a mythological story. We don't have to attach so much significance behind like to this specific casting choice. But people were not really connected with this choice, especially, for example, they were criticizing the casting of Elliot Page being a transgender actor, especially because at the beginning it was rumored that he was going to play Achilles. So people just absolutely lost it when they saw that. It was confirmed then that he plays a different character in the movie, but just the idea of having, this kind of like different than usual choice was enough to convince people that this cast was just like very different than usual and not a good one. Even Elon Musk spoke about this, which does not surprise me because he speaks about anything. Like he's just there on X, just like giving his opinion. And he said that Christopher Nolan actually decided to have this cast because he wanted to win the awards, not specifically because he wanted to be accurate to the story. And Lupita Nyong'o replied, and she said that she believes that just this cast just represents how society is. So, you have people of color, you have people that are part of the queer community, and it's just how life is. And I obviously agree with her. I think it's a perfect cast, and I'm really excited to see how that's gonna, how that's gonna be. Another thing, for example, that got criticized, which I found quite interesting, was the fact that in the trailer you can hear the actors speaking with kind of like an American accent. And the people said, "Oh, it seems like they're just outside of Starbucks, just like about to order a coffee or something like that." But to me, I mean, like a lot of historical movies have actors speaking with a British accent, but I feel this is just part of like a cinematic tradition. It wouldn't really make sense to have them speaking a British accent anyway, because that's not how the characters would have spoken anyway. They would have not spoken in English to begin with. So it's kind of like a funny one. So yeah, I feel like I am really curious about this, and I really hope to see it soon. But at the same time, it's kind of funny how such a massive movie was met. Before the curiosity, it was met with the controversies. So, what do you guys think? Are you guys going to see it? What do you think, Adam? For example, starting from you.
Yeah, so my flatmate, she's really into like mythology, Greek mythology. So she like rants me and is like, "Can we watch this, please?" So yeah, I think next week I'll be watching it. It's so interesting to hear as well about like, I think the accent thing is quite. Like it's interesting, but I understand why they did it. You have to. I think if they did have that mix of accents, it might sound like, oh, they are from different places, even though they're obviously all meant to be from Greece. It's kind of like Les Mis, how they all spoke Cockney, and that was like to sort of translate the Parisian working class. So it's interesting to hear about that. I will say, when we looked at the cast, I don't think I've ever seen her eyes roll so far into the back of her head when she saw that Tom Holland and Zendaya were in this. I think they're just such like the default cast for anything nowadays. But I mean, they are good. They are good. So nothing on them. But yeah, I am excited to see this.
That's very true. I feel like they get cast in a lot of things, and sometimes they also get cast as a couple, which is funny because you know that they're a couple in real life. I do think that Zendaya could be good in her role, same as like many other actors in the film. But at the same time, yes, it's strange to see because it's a lot of people that you are used to see in completely different roles, and then you see them in this very new to them environment. So I think it would be fun to have this kind of like a fresh take on the story and also on the characters. And are you going to see it?
I think I'm going to see it, but I've decided to go and watch it blind. Like, I'm not going to watch any trailers or anything like that. I'm not, and I'm sorry if I offend anyone, not the biggest fan of Greek mythology. I just never been able to get into it or mythology in general. But I'm like, Adam, your roommate would hate me. I'm going because I want to see the cast. So when Lucia was talking about the criticism amongst the cast and everything, I was like, what are you talking about? This cast is amazing. Like, but I do agree that the casting of Zendaya and Tom Holland at the same time is a bit, yeah, okay. But at the same time, that's how you know that the movie is probably going to perform really well because of the cast we have, and especially with Zendaya and Tom Holland. But yeah, I've seen quite a lot of like the PR for it and stuff like that, and it seems to be a lot of hype. So I'm excited to see what the hype's about because I know nothing.
Yeah, obviously, like you said, obviously the cast, but I feel like the idea of having such an important story also told by Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan is like, I feel like if you attach his name to literally anything, people will go see it because he's just like guarantee that it's going to be a fun time. So yeah, we are talking about cinema now. We are going to talk a little bit about tech and something that we've never talked about, which is AI. So, so yeah, never mentioned before. So Anna, tell us about it because recently Meta has introduced a new feature on Instagram, and that was also met with a lot of controversy. So tell us all about it.
Yes, so I forget the date now, but it was about a week ago that Meta introduced something called Muse Image. And essentially what it was on Instagram, and it lets other people who have public Instagram accounts basically create AI generated images of them. So for example, if my account was public, and someone could be like, turn Anne Faraz into like a medieval knight or something like that, you know. But the thing is, that's okay, fine, whatever. But the biggest like shocking part was that no one was notified about this, and most shockingly, the users were notified about this. So there was no consent, and I mean, it was enabled by default. I didn't see. I mean, I have a public account, and I didn't see anything about, hey, this is our new feature, just by the way. And I think there also should be consent if someone is going to take images. And yeah, so it leads to a lot of privacy concerns and consent concerns as well, because we're living in a world where impersonation and deepfakes and all of that has become so topical. Oh my gosh, am I going to talk about Taylor Swift again? I always do that. But just AI in general, and obviously we saw with Taylor, she and amongst her with many other artists have seen like very inappropriate deepfakes, often in a sexual matter, made of them, obviously without their consent, which is very messed up. And then obviously we had Taylor and Travis's wedding, but we haven't gotten any confirmed images from them. And there's been just this insane stream amount of AI generated images that are so clearly AI generated, but people fall for them, you know. So it also counts to the whole idea of AI literacy and just general literacy amongst artificial intelligence that people have, and how are you able to see if something is AI generated. But yeah, I'm going on a tangent here. The whole thing is that, you know, this was very bad, especially since Instagram can be a creative app that can be for artists as well. So artists were speaking out and saying, you know, our own art and our style can now be, it's also Meta can get information, essentially. So, you know, artists were saying Meta can copy our styles now of artwork, and this goes against everything, you know, we believe in. So the Actors Union, SAG-AFTRA, they had a huge criticism about it, and along with many other, you know, unions, just people in general, the public were like furious when we finally heard about it, not from Instagram themselves, but from someone who actually called it out. And 3 days later, they removed the feature because it obviously wasn't received well, and thank goodness. So I don't think that was going to work. So yeah, obviously the whole idea of being able to create an AI image of someone, you can do anything with that. And of course, like, you know, there's some limits to it. Some AI things will be like, no, we can't do that, but people always find a way. And, you know, it leads to just also impersonation concerns, and, you know, someone maybe creating a video of you saying something that you never said, type of thing. So yeah, we talk about AI a lot on this podcast, and this is just adding to the other slice of cake, or the layer of cake, to the many privacy concerns that comes with AI, and what we don't know is going to happen in the future, really, or maybe what we do know, I don't know. So yeah, you guys should tell me what you think about it, because it's quite concerning to me. I don't know what you guys think.
I feel like it's like you said, yes, we do talk about it a lot, but it's kind of like inevitable, because every week they come out with I don't want to say a bad word, but like they come out with some new random things. And yeah, no, it's absolutely insane. To me, the worst thing is the fact that no one was told about it. And personally, I have a private account, so with me it would have been, you know, it wouldn't have affected me anyway. But like all of my friends, literally, as soon as the story came out, messaged me, and they were like, I don't know if, you know, because obviously they follow me, so they don't know if my account is private or not, because they can see my photos anyway. And they'll be like, I don't know if you knew about this, but this has happened, and, you know, just switch to private, because, or switch it off. And the fact that not only no one was informed, but also that it was automatically just applied to every account, is
Crazy.
insane, because it is literally insane, because like you said, anyone could do anything with your image, and it can be something innocent, but even if it's, I mean, and obviously not, but even if it is something innocent, it's incredibly scary. Like you haven't done that thing, and then there's a picture of you doing anything, and it's just terrible, because like you said, then if it was like AI was at the beginning, when we just had that video of Will Smith eating the spaghetti, then it would have been obviously recognizable. But right now, it's so difficult to discern what's reality and what's not. And how could you explain to someone, yeah, that's not me, that's just an image of someone, that could be anyone, has created of me? And to me, it's just mind-blowing. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I think like we've already seen this with so many, like like X and Grok, like there's the whole thing where even though there are these like safeguards in place, it's still so easy to just be like, I remember it was like someone would post a picture and then in the comments you would just be like, at Grok, take their top off, put her in a bikini, and that would technically get past the safeguards because obviously it's not using like sexual words, even though that image is so obviously going to be used for that purpose. And yeah, we say this, I mean, I feel like even in 34 episodes deep, like the the AI when we started this podcast is it's just getting better and better. I mean, going back to like the Odyssey, I was reading an interview with Christopher Nolan, and he was saying he was very against it, and he was very like happy to see that people of our generation, of our age, are very against AI slop, and we can tell when it's slop. And like there are so many studies now that say people don't like it. People don't like it when you pick up the phone and it's an AI agent. People don't like seeing it, on their feeds, on their social media. So it's just, why is it constantly being pushed? Like, it's just, they just want to get their money back because they put so much into it. But no, we don't want it. No one wants it.
It's like, when you do any kind of research on Google or anything, the first thing that comes out is literally like an AI generated answer. And to me, that's just, you can't escape it, even if, you're on social media, like anywhere, it's anywhere. And the better it gets, the worse it gets for us, because obviously then things like this get implemented and we get these new features that are, to me at least, completely useless, and they get pushed on us without, us knowing. So yeah, scary times, which is what I say every time we talk about AI. But we are talking about one last story. But before, I'd just like to remind you, if you would like to read more about all of this, you can head to our website, newsjustnews.com, and you find everything there and so much more. We are talking now about a lighter story. We're talking about Tyra Banks and her book that she wrote in 2011. Adam, tell us about it.
I was, because I thought this went so viral, and I thought everyone knew it, and apparently some people didn't, and I've just been talking. But anyway, yes, Tyra Banks of America's Top Model fame. So Modelland, her book that she released in 2011, it went absolutely viral on X and TikTok because, so she made this novel called Modelland, and she also made a song for it, and in the YouTube video where she uploaded it, it said homemade song, and I think that's the best description ever because it's a very homemade song. And it was like the caption on X was, "This might possibly be the worst song of all time." It's so funny, it's so auto-tuned. She clearly wrote the lyrics, she did the production herself, like the auto-tune herself. So funny. Anyway, that went viral, and then obviously people come back to the book, which is even more balmy. So Tyra herself said that Modelland is Harry Potter meets the Hunger Games with some fashion magic.
Perfect.
Yeah, so so Modelland is to supermodels what Hogwarts is to wizards. So the protagonist, who's called Tuki de la Creme, by the way, is in is in Modelland, this academy, trying to become an Intoxabella, a supermodel with actual superpowers.
Hey.
And
Sure.
along the way, oh yeah, also too, she's a 15-year-old girl with different coloured eyes, heterochromia. Along the way, she meets a plus-size girl named Dylan, a 4'7" girl named Shiraz, um, and a girl with albinism called Piper. And this was Tyra's attempt to like show, like there's different sides of the
Sure.
Anyway, so it came out in 2011. It was ghost written as well, so she did the draft of the story. Like everything I hear about this gets even more crazy. Like every time I read about Modelland, there's something new. Like one of the girls comes from a world where the entire economy is based on candles, and another one is like all of the medical personnel have skates for feet. Like not that they wear skates, like their feet are skates.
Wow.
Amazing.
In because they think that if you're on skates, you're going to be quicker, so you can respond in a medical emergency.
Sure.
Obviously. So yeah, it was written, released, ghost written and released in 2011. It ended on a cliffhanger, obviously flopped, and then the sequel was cancelled, so no one ever knows what happened. So anyway, I think this was like last week. Tyra did put out an Instagram post, addressing the resurgence, and yeah, so by her own words, she was saying it was wacky, it was weird, a ridiculous fantasy world with real heart underneath it. I think ridiculous, wacky, weird is certainly there, but I mean, you can tell she put a lot into it, a lot of creativity. Gotta give it to her. And she said, obviously, she was disappointed by the fact that it flopped, but she cried seeing people talking about it and like playing the song. And then I think in a more bizarre turn of events, Tyra Banks owns an ice cream parlor in Sydney, and it's the 1-year anniversary of this ice cream parlor being opened. And like in celebration of Modelland, being coming back into the pop sphere, she's like released a line of ice cream flavors for all of for all of these characters, and she said the characters don't have faces yet, but they do now have flavors. So I think she's, we might see more of Modelland, which I think would be really fun.
I hope not, but
I was gonna say, have you heard the song? Have you seen anything about this?
So no, I haven't. But to be fair, like I said in previous episodes, I'm not on TikTok. So like, if it mainly blew up in there, that's probably why. However, this is fascinating. It's so wacky and completely insane. I have to say though that she's being quite brave, and I'm glad that she's kind of like monetizing over it now with this ice cream thing. Because if it were me, I would probably do everything in my power to remove any trace of that thing off the world. Like I would just, I don't know, pay my agent and just be like, burn all the books. I don't want to know anything about it anymore. But no, apart from jokes aside, it's really funny. I don't know, it's just a random story, but it's amazing. I feel like the cast especially is the really good thing about this. Like the side characters. When you were saying that, it's just poetry. That's amazing, honestly. Yeah. What do you think, Anna? Have you heard anything about it?
So I'm pretty chronically online, but Adam, we seem to be on different sides of the algorithm. But when I read your article when it came out, because I was like, Modelland, what is this? And after I read your article, I went into a deep dive, and now my entire For You page is the song. And Richard, I need you to listen to the song after
you have to listen to this.
I will. I absolutely will.
It's like Charlie XCX, but before DJs and producers were a thing. It's in the best way possible. So I really respect her hustle. Like I respect her bravery with this as well, and the fact that she obviously is very, very proud of it. And you know what? I think that's something to be very proud of. I would not be able to be that creative and come up with all those characters. Ghostwriter
Sure,
or
that's
not.
true. That is
And
true.
now the ice cream flavors, I mean, it really is. I think it could be a success again. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I'm really invested. Like, I want to read the book now.
I know. Well,
I will
people are
go.
trying to sell it online for double because obviously it didn't have like as big of a
Yeah.
commercial success, so that's so hard to get your hands on the book.
I think it would make a good TV series or like a movie or something. But anyways.
Well, you know, maybe it was just the right book for the wrong time, and maybe now it can be rediscovered as the masterwork that it actually is. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I will listen to the song. And on this note, we are ending the episode. Once again, please head to our website, newsjustnews.com, and you can find all of the stories from today and many, many more. Thank you guys for joining me, and I hope your weekend is going great. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Anna, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye. See you next week.